Welcome to twoquestions.tv. Today I'm doing an update on my phone diet. Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm Susan Baroncini-Moe, and it's been a month since I gave you an update on my phone diet. So I thought today I'd let you know how things are going and also tell you about a couple of apps that I'm using that I've added to try and help me track what I'm doing. So I realized after the last update that I did that I actually needed an app that would differentiate what apps I'm using and why. So for example, I use certain apps for work and meditation and other health things. And I really needed an app that would track my phone time, but also what I'm doing on my phone. Because the thing about my addictometer that I like it because it tells me what I'm doing. And it also tells me you stayed away from your phone between these hours. Great work. But it doesn't tell me exactly what I'm doing and what I'm using the apps for. And since so much of my work does involve social media and things like email and scheduling, and I do quite a bit of that on my phone, I kind of thought it was a good idea to get a sense of what's going on there. Am I using my phone for useful things or am I just wasting time? Now, update on games, I removed most games from my phone. I kept one, okay. But I really like playing it sometimes, okay? It's okay to play games, but I also have removed any apps that are deliberately distracting. So there was one game I played that I would play like if I was standing in line or if I was waiting for something. And it became a little addictive, and so I've stopped that. Another thing is I've added these two new apps to help me see what I'm using my phone for. So for example, one of them is called Quality Time. I'm going to show you these apps so you can see what they look like. Quality Time looks like this. Now, I'm going to explain a couple of things here. Okay, you can see the game. I played Design Home. There you go. Okay, so it tells me what I've been using. It tells me what apps I'm using. I can also use it to lock my screen or take a break, and then it'll tell me, no, don't, you're on a break. And it tells me when I'm using apps. So this is really important because if you look, it says I've used my phone for 2 hours and 58 minutes today. That's not true. If you look here, you'll see I fell asleep watching Hulu last night. I did. And so at least an hour and a half of this is not legit. There's also some time of meditation. I use this for my phone for meditation. I've told you about the Calm app before. And I also use my phone to do some various work tasks. So what Quality Time is helping me do is keep track of an overall usage of my phone and quickly look and ferret out, okay, that I fell asleep watching my phone, or it helps me to assess how much is work time. So it's a quick look at what I'm doing. The other one I want to show you is called Antisocial. And it takes a minute to start up every time I start it, but it gives me an interesting comparison against other people. So I'm not sure who those people are, but right now it's giving me a score of 38, saying I'm less dependent on my phone than most people. Way to go, me. It also shows me my amount of usage. It gives me a nice little graph here. It shows me how I'm comparing to others. I don't know how I'm getting such a low score based on the fact that I'm so much higher than others most of the time. That's confusing. It also tells me how many times I've unlocked my screen. Definitely something I need to get under control. And it tells me how many minutes I'm spending on social media. Again, this is something I'm falling asleep watching. It's not fair. So very interesting information. And if you look, it also gives me these graphs that tell me when I'm highest at my peak usage. So it gives you kind of an overview in terms of your week, your month, and that kind of stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm actively trying to assess what is it that I'm doing on my phone for so much time. And that way then I know what kind of behaviors to curb and adjust and modify. There's another thing that I'm doing that's new. When my husband comes home, I actually started we have a bar in our home, and it separates our kitchen from our family room. And so I've started putting my phone on the bar and covering it with a towel or a cloth or something so I can't see it. And that means I disengage from the phone and I spend more time with my husband. It's crazy when you actually start to pay attention to this. You really start to get intrigued and mindful about how much you're missing. When you start to disassociate from your phone, you realize, whoa, what am I doing with my life? And it's interesting. I read this book yesterday, Never Get Angry Again. And I'm actually interviewing David Lieberman on the show in a few days. So be on the lookout for that, because it's a very interesting parallel that he draws with respect to distraction and our devices and why we're engaging in binge watching, being on our phones all the time, binge watching and any kind of TV, anything that distracts and anesthetizes and allows us to escape from a painful reality. It's very interesting. Please be on the lookout for that interview. So how is my phone diet going? Well, I wouldn't say I'm using my phone less exactly in the aggregate, but I'm definitely more mindful about it, and I'm paying attention to when I'm using it. And I am also really trying to get a lock on what I'm doing with all my time that I spend on my phone. But sometimes if I'm doing work that is a little bit repetitive or mindless, then I'll watch a show. And so is that distraction? Is that entertainment? Is that escapism? No, but it still counts on my phone time. So it's a little tricky to try to ferret out, what am I actually doing and what should I stop doing versus what is okay to do and what should I continue. So I'm finding this a very interesting process, and I hope you're enjoying finding out about it as well. And I hope you're considering some of these apps. I'll have links to all of the apps in the show notes for today so that you can see exactly what I'm using. It's just an interesting process and an interesting journey. And I hope that at the end of this, I will use my phone more as a tool than letting my phone control me. And I think that it's I wanted to be very transparent about this journey. I wanted you to know, like, whoa, I use my phone way too much. And I know that when I'm scrolling through Instagram or I'm scrolling through Facebook, I find those things so interesting, but I know I'm getting a little dopamine hit when I do it. So I may have to find that somewhere else. It's maybe not so great. So definitely these things can be addictive and challenging. And I'm finding it challenging to reduce my phone time. But removing some of the more distracting apps has helped. I'm not quite ready to remove Facebook from my phone. I may have to do it. We'll see. I'll tune you in. I'll update you on another episode on the next update. But that's how it's going. I hope this was interesting and helpful. I'll have links to all the apps I'm using in the show notes for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.